Alright lads, so the newest character in Bleach of Resonance is a new SSR Nelliel. And you might tell from my voice, I'm currently sick right now, but that isn't going to stop me being here for the release of this newest character. So you know how it is, as always, our main goal right now is just get the character once and also get the core stamp. Since we have a really good pity system in this game, we know we are guaranteed the character, we just want to get the character early. Last few times I've had to go to full pity, but with Kenpachi and now Nelliel, we have gotten the character significantly earlier, saving me a lot of jades for the next character, which at this point, you know, should be Grimmjow, right? So with that said, let's tap through and see that Nelliel summon animation should be coming up anytime now. There we go. I love that that's the summon quote, by the way. The iconic free tattoo on the background. The spins, the slashes, the jiggle. Nelliel has been acquired in only 2 emotes, which is actually really good. So I guess with that, we still have a lot of currency left over. Right now, I'm kind of saving it for like the next big character. Really not sure who that could be. Maybe for Hello Ichigo. But let's go into the weapon stamp. We are guaranteed in 34 summons. Can we get this one early? Can we get a bit greedy today? Like we did with Kenpachi. Doesn't seem like we're getting anything for the first multi. Going into the second multi, again, we are looking for the orange kind of yellow outline on the Getsuga to indicate that the visored mask is about to appear. Going into this one, chances are we are going to see here, because there is a soft pity, so you are, never mind, you are slowly building up the chance to get the character around the 30th, 70th summon. So we only have 4 more singles to do. Let's do singles now, and we should be getting Nelliel's weapon stamp anytime now in the next like 2. Hopefully I don't have to go to 40. I mean, not like it matters, there's only like 3 more singles, but do we have to do full pity? Are we getting it on 39? We got it on 39. There we go. There we go. Reason to fight. Now obtained. With that said, now let's go ahead and max out the character. Alright then, so we finally have access to Nelliel. At this point, I've currently maxed out to the best that I can possibly do. So right now, we are looking at level 100 with 36 total power. But Nelliel is a tactic Frost character that is designed to not be used in a Frost type team specifically. Of course, she is going to excel in that team and pairs very well with Gin that we are going to try out later today in this video. But due to the way that Nelliel does work, honestly, you can use her alongside Kenpachi and likely Grimmjow if he is going to be the next available character, because Grimmjow seems to also be another element character. And that's important too, because what's actually crazy about this character right now is the battlefield skill, as she does offer 60% increased element mastery. Absolutely insane that she is giving a universal buff for the most part. It is restricted to only characters that want to get element mastery. But for the most part, right now, that is the best DPS characters in the game. Gin and also Kenpachi, and again, likely Grimmjow. But she's given 60%. Every other tactic character thus far, SSRs, have only offered at max 30% more damage. And this is definitely something to keep in mind when it comes to power creep with tactic units. This number is just going to always get increased. I wouldn't be surprised if a year from now, we're going to see above 100% more damage. Maybe 120% more damage. It's just a very easy way for tactic units to power creep the previous characters. But with that, she does have access to 2 battlefield skills. It looks like one of the attacks did get removed. I don't believe you can see her do the Cero attack. But her 2 battlefield skills is the Cero Syncretico, which is the combo attack with Pesce and Don the Chaka. Really cool animation. And then we have the extra attack where she just joins the battle while you're attacking with another character. Overall, just to deal extra damage. Her ultimate does transform her into a Resurrection, and that does allow her to do more damage. We'll more so show that in the gameplay section. She has a pretty powerful technique, but her passive effects are also really good too. You get 25% attack while you are transformed. Naturally, the character increases her crit rate by 25% in battle, so that's really good. And then overall, she's getting more Verde Rush damage, which is, for the most part, her element that she can inflict. So in terms of how we are building her, we do have a weapon at max level. All skills are max level at level 9, passives level 3. Boundary again right now would be 0. And then when it comes to the stamps, we are going with max stamps here. She does have access to a very powerful memory bond, an SSR one at that. Right now, you can get the Don the Chaka one pretty easy. The Nelliel one does take a bit of grinding, but you can get that today. And it does give a pretty noticeable upgrade. Element damage going from 24 to 42%. And then when equipped to a tactic character, they do get an extra 20% for the most part crit damage. going up to 42 with the second one, and then the third level you can get in around 8 days time when we do get the second part to the Nelliel Yami event. So really good bond set for her. We can't max that out right now, but when it comes to the stamp set, so my first stamp set, we are going with attack percentage. And then with that, we're just trying to increase the best stats that we can get. So a little bit of ult charge isn't horrible. Not a main stat you should be prioritizing, but crit rate, attack percentage, element damage bonus, crit damage bonus, the standard stuff is good here. We do have that. Unfortunately, when I did 6-star this piece, I didn't really get a good passive effect. For my second piece, we are going with crit rate. And with that, we are picking up more crit rate, more attack percentage, and crit damage, while also getting more technique damage. And then for my final piece, we are going with attack percentage. You can go with element damage bonus. It's not a bad one. Right now, though, we are going with attack percentage. It was the best stamp that I could get in this slot, and I think attack percentage is going to be a good idea for her. So we are going with that. Unfortunately, didn't get the best rolls on the advanced stats, but at least I did get 2 upgrades into crit damage and crit rate. And then we also did get a special attack increase. Now, this set's actually really good because it does increase her crit damage by 40%. And every time an ultimate is used, you do increase the thrust damage for your team by 50% for 30 seconds, which is also pretty good. And then you are getting more element damage bonus every time you use a battlefield skill. So, of course, this set is designed for her, really good for her with that in mind. And then for her core stamp, we are getting more damage on our ultimates, more element mastery, and then also lowering all type resistance, which again makes her good for non-thrust type teams, potentially when used alongside Kenpachi. So right now I do want to try out this team with Nelliel and also Gin, and I think these two pair very well together because the way Gin is designed as a character is that he doesn't need to be on the field, even though like the standard when it comes to roles in this game is that tactic units are more backline characters, ones that don't take a lot of field presence, whereas full assault characters do. But the way Gin's work is that whenever a character is dealing damage, you can inflict impel skill, right? More so when it comes to like their special attacks and stuff. So we got impel there, and then you switch it to Gin and he gets the technique points, and then his rotation for the most part just consists of him using his technique, maybe his counter effect, ultimate when ready, and then switching into another character. Nelliel though does do some pretty good damage here, and again is further buffing Gin's damage output. And then Nell's gameplay, she has kind of a lot going on because she has multiple techniques, she has a special attack, she has multiple battlefield skills, and she does gain her ult charge pretty fast. So after a few combos, you're pretty much ready to go into a transformed state. And then by the time you go back into Gin, which you do get that free counter after using a special attack, you do have almost for the most part all his technique points ready and also a counter to use again. So really good rotation. With that in mind, let's go ahead and reset that and do a 2-minute counter and see how much damage that we can do. So we're going to start off with Kisuke. So let's do the technique into the 2 special attacks and ultimate. Now at the start of every battle, you do get to use the free Zero attack. And then after that, use your technique. Follow that up with the final hit of the basic attack. And then going into Gin, you do have all technique points available. And then also a free counter if you do have access to his core stamp. Let's use our basic attack. We're going to be building down the gauge for Nelliel. So we're on 11 out of 15. Let's go back into Nelliel again. There we go, back into Gin. Let me quickly go back into Kisuke just to reset the boost here. So we are still working the rotation a little bit. It's only right now day number 1, but we get to use the Zero attack again. At this point, we might as well transform. We do get to activate her Resurrection. Really do like the animations here, and I think the idea is that you also want to build up the combat points before transforming. Because depending on how much combat points you have, I believe is what they call it, you can do multiple different attacks. So you can do a free counter, you get to do an enhanced technique, or you could potentially do a special attack. And they all consume technique points, or combat points, I believe is what they call it with Nell. Let's go and do that. Use the ultimate, and then we might as well go back into Nelliel here. We might have to do another rotation because I don't think I'm doing it the best right now. But I really do like, by the way, that she does have this needle sound effect, which I think is really cool. So with the follow-up technique. And then we have the ult, which I believe did get enhanced compared to when we first saw it like a week ago, which looks really cool. Back into Gin because you get that free counter effect. Let's reapply the boost effects. Definitely going to do another rotation of 2 minutes here. Back into Gin. Let's use the counter. Back into Nell. There we go. And then Gin is ready. So Nell and Gin honestly just work very well together. Honestly, whether one's on the field or one's off field, they're both just getting benefits from each other. So it right now might be my favorite duo in the game. Let's boost that again. Reapply our boost effects. Just trying to squeeze in a little bit of extra damage. Back into Gin. Can we get our technique off again? The enhanced one, I believe we can with the ult and counter. We do break the enemy's guard too, which is lovely. 1.4 mil, not too bad. There we go. Long overdue, but now let's do the extra attack. And, you know, 1.3 million damage ain't too bad. And we got the transform again. Can I get the ult off in 11 seconds? 9 seconds? I don't think so. Let's just stay on Nelliel. I believe we're going to need to use the technique again, so I don't think we can do that. But not too bad for, like, our first attempt, right? So what you want to see here is that now is able of putting up some really good numbers. 30 million is pretty good for just B0, right? With that, Kisuke is also able to do some decent damage. I mean, 3 million does add up. Of course, he is going to be our team booster. Again, does do less damage when compared to me using him alongside Kaname, for example, but that's because Gin takes up a lot of screen time presence in that case. Where you'll see here, I mean, we actually, in that case, we'll do another attempt, right? We did actually use now more than Gin, funny enough. But combined at B0, no dupe investment, and for the most part, no even investment on their weapons or their core stamps, you're able to do 18 million damage, which is for the most part the highest damage that I believe a B0 team can do. So this right now, these three characters, especially Nell and Gin, as a duo, whether using Kisuke or Rangiku, should be the strongest team in the game. With dupes, it's going to look a bit different, but at B0, this team is actually very strong. So let's go ahead and try that again. This time again, 2-minute timer. And again, it's going to get better because we are only on 1 bond increase of the Nell set. So she is going to get stronger as we do go by the week. Let's go into Nelliel. Into the technique. Really like her gameplay though, man. Every new character thus far has been super fun to play with. Go into Gin. Get all technique points are already here. We're going to stay on Gin now to consume the Nelliel battlefield skill gauge, as it is going down and we're building up the friendship points. So currently on 12 out of 15. Let's reapply the Gin boost. So with the Kisuke effects. And then with that, we're back into Nelliel. So rotation is actually pretty good, because now we go back into Gin. Use the counter. Have all our technique points available. Let's do that. Getting good damage there. Might as well use the ultimate now. Although I probably could have stayed out and done like another rotation, but we do have enough technique points. Or combat points, as they call it. Well, let's go back into Kisuke just to reapply the boost effects. Just to also get Gin's ult off too. Because our goal right now is to try and get around 80 million damage again. Crap, I should have done my technique first. So again, not the perfect rotation right now. But 1.6 million seems to be very consistent right now with Gin. And then let's do our technique. Into the ultimate. Solid damage, 2.7 million is really good. Into Gin. Technique points are up. Right now we have 57 seconds to go. Or 50 seconds to go with 50 million damage already in the bank. Stay on Gin for a little bit. Back into Kisuke. So right now we're building up Nell's friendship points. Back into Gin. Yeah, right now really good. Should be able to get a technique off soon. Should be 1.7 mil. 1.4, a little bit lower this time. Let's go back into Nelliel now because we get to do the ultimate. Get a really good animation. Really good animations. My voice is gone. I'm still ill. I'm still ill. My apologies. Let's go into Gin. Kind of messed up there. Didn't hold down. But we are looking at around 80 million damage for the most part. And then with that, the timing is almost perfect. We should go back to Nell with the technique about to recover. But I do want to gain one more combat point, which we get from the ultimate. So with the basic attack. And then the ult goes off. That's going to deal 2.8 mil damage. Back into Gin. Let's use all our techniques here. Almost 18 million damage, by the way. That is at 19 million damage. Almost is absolutely insane at B0. So there you have it. Nell, of course, as expected, is a massive upgrade to the Frost type team. Gin is still able to put up some really good numbers. 50 million. Even though we didn't spend that much time on the field with him, 50 seconds, but Nelliel also takes up a lot of screen time presence, so they just work very well together, because whether one's on the field or one's in the backline, they're both getting effects, right? It kind of feels like they designed Gin in mind with the idea, or more so it's the other way around, where they designed Nell to be really good in a team with Gin. And for those that do like those tactic units, or more so, you know, think a tactic unit isn't going to get a lot of spotlight in the battle time, you'll see that for the most part, they're both just DPS characters. One's a tactic, one's a full assault, but you know what? They're both putting up good numbers. They're both taking up a lot of screen time presence. The only character that isn't, which is fine, is Kisuke, but he's providing some really good buffs. But with that said, let's try that team once more, this time with Rangiku, in the Fronty Feast final quest against Kenpachi, and see what score we can get. Alright, so jumping into it, even though we are using Rangiku right now, the team itself can be relatively the same. So we are starting off with Rangiku's technique into the Battlefield skill. Dodge out the way. Let's charge it up. We're going to stay on Gin for a little bit. Kind of wanted to parry that, but unfortunately weren't able to. Let's do that. Back into Rangiku, into Nelliel. And remember, we are getting heals from Nelliel too. You probably won't ever notice it, but it's going to be really good in difficult content where you are taking a lot of damage. But to be fair, this team, especially Gin, doesn't take that much damage with his invincibility frames, you know? So let's use a special attack. Already into the Kenpachi second phase. Do we have any good attacks here? I believe we do. Let's do that. And then charge it up with Gin. Let's use this. And then ult goes off. Good damage there. And then let's go into Nelliel. We should be able to finish off here. Yeah, we didn't even need to use our ultimate. Man, Nelliel is crazy. So that's maybe like a perfect score. But 1 minute, pretty easily done. Like, just without even trying, pretty much. And at least in that specific case, we actually did do more damage on Nelliel. I think as the battle goes on, it will average out a little bit. Granted, again, I believe did have to break the shield, so I think we missed out on some damage there. But yeah, Nelliel right now, at least in this particular example, was putting up similar numbers. If not better numbers than Gin. Well, the thing is, all you can really ask for a Battlefield character. So for the most part, that's going to be our first video of many when I am starting to feel a little bit better regarding Nelliel. Really like this character as our first Espada in the game. Didn't expect Nelliel to be the first Espada in the game, but I am liking her. And I've had the opinion that I would find it weird that a character transforms into their Resurrection and then detransforms. But honestly, after playing it, I don't think it's that big of an issue. But yeah, honestly, I do think Nelliel has a lot going on for her right now. Really good damage for starters. Really good utility with the shield that she does provide for herself. The heals for the team too. Even though right now you might not notice it much, I think it is going to come in handy later on. She's relatively easy to build in my opinion. All you really need to go is with attack percentage and crit rate, crit damage, element damage. You don't really need to focus on ultimate charge rate as she does get her ultimate charge pretty fast. Just for the attacks that she does have. And even though in a way she has a lot going on because she has, you know, a transformation effect, but then she also has a technique, a sub-technique. She has a basic attack with a special attack combo. And then she has an additional special attack when she is transformed. She has 2 different Battlefield skills. Even with all that, it's still a relatively straightforward character. I think she's actually pretty simple. And with this passive boost free too, she also does get pretty much good crit rate. Like right now I have 71%. So in battle, we're almost approaching 100% crit rate, which to be fair might be a bit too much. Maybe I'm fine with 70%. Maybe I should build more crit damage in that regard. But crit damage is also pretty good because, again, you are getting more through the stamp set. You're getting pretty much 40% crit damage there. If you were to invest into the character's duplicates, you are getting more crit rate and crit damage, making it even easier to build. And then again, we are going to get her better over time, as we will unlock access to a pretty good stamp set, as we are going to unlock access to the bond effect, which we are going to get more element damage and more crit damage, which is absolutely crazy because I believe it goes up to 60%. So doing all that while also boosting and buffing the 2 best DPS characters in the game, Kenpachi and also Gin, potentially Grimjaw in the future, makes her, in my opinion, one of the best characters in the game. Which I feel like we're going to be saying a lot for every new character. But either way, that's the video for today. Let me know what you guys think about Nelliel. We're going to talk about her a lot over the next week, so hope you guys enjoyed the content. So that's next time. Take care and peace.